All right, let's get back to the top intelligence leaders testifying before a House committee on Capitol Hill. Let's listen in.
You don't dispute that, do you, sir?
I'm not familiar with it, but I don't dispute what you're telling me.
Thank you. A memo obtained by ABC 7 News of Chicago said that this task force will now be, quote, actively supporting, close quote, the Department of Homeland Security and its immigration enforcement. You don't dispute that either, do you?
I'm just not familiar with it, sir.
Okay. Sir, I just have to say, the DOJ has now tasked JTTFs to shift some resources to immigration enforcement efforts. And I don't say this lightly, if there's a terrorist attack anywhere in the country, including in Chicago, and it was because the JTTFs in part shifted resources, they'll be held to pay. Thank you, sir.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Gabbard, was the target terrorist named in the text, or was it simply referred to as target terrorist?
The target was not named.
Thank you. Was the location named?
Congressman, no locations were named.
Thank you. Director Patel, there was a specific accusation made about how close we are working with Mexico currently. My understanding, and I want to congratulate you on this, and I think it shows a shift of focus at the FBI since you've taken over to what it should have been doing all along, which is chasing the 10 most wanted that are threatening our country. My understanding is that 2 of the 3 were actually arrested in Mexico and are being extradited back to the United States. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We have been working. One of the first meetings I took as FBI director was my counterpart, Secretary Farouche in Mexico. And subsequent to that, we have extradited or expelled from Mexico 2 top 10 of the FBI's most wanted list and 33 other criminals.
Well, it sounds to me like we're working closer with them today than we have in the last several years, and that the focus of the FBI has shifted to actually protecting American citizens instead of arresting pro-life protesters.
Our mission is to find violent criminals wherever they are, and if they're in Mexico, we're going to get them.
All right, you're watching top intelligence officials testify in front of the House committee there on Capitol Hill. I want to bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion to help break all of this down for us. Nikole, now that we have a lot more details on the information that was in that group chat, yesterday we saw Democrats come down hard on the intelligence leaders, while many Republicans said this was all a big mistake and we need to move on. What stood out to you in the hearings today, and are some Republicans questioning the competency of intelligence leadership?
Well, I think despite the release of that text message chain or portions of it by The Atlantic this morning, we are still kind of seeing that same pattern of Democrats in the House Intelligence Committee really trying to press these officials, whereas Republicans are trying to keep more of the focus on the broader topic at hand, which is worldwide threats, which was the original purpose for this hearing. But of course, it has now devolved into mostly addressing this controversy that is now known as Signalgate at this point. But look, you know, there are some members, particularly there was an exchange with Connecticut Congressman Jim Himes, who pressed DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard about her testimony yesterday because he asked whether or not weapons packages had been discussed in this text chain, and felt that her answer yesterday before the Senate was a little different than what she was presenting before the House today, and so she still kind of gave a very squishy response to it. But yes, Democrats are now trying to ask for clarity, in particular in light of some of these text messages that have since been revealed. Also, we can say that certainly on both sides of the aisle, there does continue to be concern that this was, yes, a mistake, but one that may merit further investigation. So while those calls for an investigation are primarily still coming from Democrats, there are some Republicans, including both in the House and Senate, who remain open to one.
Yeah, I want to lean into that investigation. What would that entail, Nikole?
Well, obviously, you have a variety of different committees in Congress, right? So we do know, for instance, that Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, for instance, have asked the administration to preserve records from this text chain. You also have the House Armed Services, or I'm sorry, the Senate Armed Services Committee, the chair there, Republican Chair Roger Wicker, who has said that he has been in touch with his Democratic counterpart about potentially holding a hearing or taking a deeper dive into what happened with respect to this signal chat. I would also point out that Chairman Wicker did say that he doesn't think Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth should resign, and that is in addition to calls for an investigation, something we are also hearing from Capitol Hill, particularly more so on the Democratic side, with more members coming out calling for the resignation of Pete Hegseth and or the National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Republicans, for their part, for the most part, continue to stand by these officials, but certainly Democrats are trying to heap on the pressure on these officials as they believe that someone should be held accountable for what happened here.
CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion, thank you so much.